Today's lesson is all about color schemes. So the way we use color schemes, we need to refer to our color wheel, and it can create a mood or put some meaning behind the colors that you choose. And the same colors can work differently when they're around another color. These two colors are the same color, but when you're surrounded by another color, it changes the whole tone of that and the whole perception of that color. So when we talk about color scheme, it's just a plan for organizing your colors in relationship to each other on the color wheel. So you really do need to reference the color wheel, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So our first color scheme would be monochromatic, and if you break that word down, it means mono means one and chroma means color, and you use one color and only hues and tints and shades of that color. This is a image by Pablo Picasso called The Tragedy, and he painted for about 4 years in just tints and shades and intensities of blue, and he considered blue to be a color that symbolized depression and sadness for him. So he really did try to create that mood through his color choices. We have analogous colors. These are colors that sit side by side on the color wheel, and they have a common hue. So if we were to use this orange, we can swing to both sides of this color wheel, and they all share the yellow and the orange. It's a very limited palette, and it works the same way no matter how you turn that color wheel for all the colors. We have complementary colors, which are a very strong contrast. You see a lot of athletic teams and sports teams that use this high contrast color palette. Think LA Lakers or Oklahoma City Thunder. They use a complementary color palette. They're very loud and they demand to be noticed. Then you have a color triad. And so you just pick out a triad here on your color wheel like this, and you can use those three colors. So a common one would be your primary color triad or your secondary color triad. And then you have split complement. So you would take your color here and go across. We know that the complement of red would be green because it's also on the color wheel. You do not choose the green, you choose the color on each side of the green for your split complement. And then we have warm and cool colors. So even your red, violet can be considered a warm color because it shares red. And then even up into here, you would swing this way, and those make you feel like the sun is on you and it's nice and warm. Or you could do a cool palette. And this could go to the blue violet here, all the way here to the yellow green. And that makes you maybe think of water or grass or being in a forest. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create our project, and we're going to create 4 different color schemes. So I'm going to show you how to create this on just printer paper, and I'm going to give you an option to do it in your paint program if you're not in class with us today. So going along with what we talked about using color schemes, we're going to do our activity. If you want to look it up in your textbook, it would be on page 149, and it will be page 166 in the PDF copy of Art Talk. So what we're going to do is create a design, and we're going to color it or paint it or whatever medium you have available to you. And we're going to start by using our initials because it'll just be the fastest way to get this done. So what I want you to do is you need 2 sheets of printer paper. The first sheet of printer paper you're going to fold into quarters. You're going to have 4 little sections. So fold it in half and fold it in half, and you'll get this little rectangle. Then what I want you to do is trace that rectangle onto your piece of paper. And so you have 1 rectangle as the size we're going to need. So you're going to use your initials. I'm going to use my initials of SK. And I'm going to just lightly draw. I'm going to use my S and go up to the edges. I'm going to bring it around. It doesn't really have to look like this at the end, your actual initials. It's okay. We're just using it to create a design. And then I'm going to maybe go in here, and you see I've just created shapes. You can do this 3 or 4 times if you like to and create a design that you'll pick out the one you like the best. That would be fine. Right now I have skeleton letters, so what I want to do is go back in and maybe add some dimension and some thickness to some of my lines. Oh, it's kind of getting lost in here. Great. That's what it should do. And so now, just using my initials, I have created all these really nice little shapes inside that rectangle. What we're going to do, when you choose a design, if you do more than one, you're going to flip this over and you're going to graphite the back of it with your pencil, like so. And this is called a graphite transfer. We've done it a couple of times in class if you've been in here. And it's just a way to repeat this design over and over again without having to redraw it freehand every single time. I like to take mine and maybe go the other direction so I have it nice and covered, like so. Hold it up to the light and make sure you have everything that you need. And then open up your paper. Line this back up with the edge of the other your paper here, and then you will trace around your lines. If you need to tape it down to hold it steady, you can do that. If you don't hit them just right, just do the best you can. It'll be okay. I'm going pretty quickly. You might want to take a little bit more time on yours. Just want to show you what happens. So it's really important that you go off to the edges of your space here so you fill up the entire space and make it interesting all the way around. Before you pull it completely off, kind of hold it still, you want to pull back and make sure that you have all of your lines. Like I missed one right here, so let me go back. I didn't move it, so I can go do that. And then pull it again, and that looks pretty good. So what you want to do is repeat this 4 times. So you'll have 4 of the exact same design on your paper, like so. If you need to re-graphite the back, if you think it's just not quite dark enough, you can do that. I'm going pretty quickly. Okay, so we want to do that 4 times. Now, the trick is I want you to reference your color wheel. I want you to choose 4 color schemes, so flip this over to the back. Use your textbook if you need help with that. And so I'm going to choose one. I'm going to say monochromatic for one. And when I choose my color scheme, I need to choose the colors that are going to go in it. So I'm going to choose red for that color scheme. Then I'm going to choose complementary. And then I need to choose a complementary pair. They're opposites on the color wheel. So I can use any of these as long as they are opposites on the color wheel. So I'm going to do a blue and orange color scheme here. I think I will do a triad here. So I'm going to do a secondary triad. I could do a primary. And if it's all secondary, it would be orange, and it would be purple, and it would be green. So if I have these plans done, it sure makes it a lot easier when I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do. So I need one more. I'm just going to leave that open and let you guys fill this in because I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to do exactly what I did. But feel free to change any of these colors. Just reference this color wheel. I want you to keep in mind when we did this color wheel, we added our complement and it made like a brown here. We added black on top here to make it darker, and we added white here to make it lighter. Please do not forego this when you're completing this. I want to see that you've added white to a color. I want to see that you've added black to a color. I want to see you add a little bit of maybe its neighbor over there to change that color a little bit. So on my first one, I'm going to do monochromatic. So I have a couple of shades of blue, and you can use color pencils. You can use markers if you have them. Markers are really blend really nicely if you use one on top of the other. So we're going to do this. So if I wanted to, and if I want to make that lighter, I could add this, and I think this is one I said is going to be a complementary color scheme. So if I'm going to do complementary, I would go over here and maybe add my orange to this. If you would like to trace the outlines of your letters and make them have outlines, you can do that as well. That's fine. I'm going to go over here to maybe this orangey red here. That'll work. And fill that in, and then I'm going to use this nice dark blue here. And so I can keep filling that in. If I put my blue here and I want to make it darker, I will just add a light layer of black on top of that, and then I can make a darker value of that blue. I could also add a little bit of its complement, which would be orange, and that's going to give me a whole nother effect. So you want to fill this in, and then I know that this is going to be a complementary color scheme, and you use your color schemes and fill all of these in. For those of you who are not in class with us, I'm going to give you an option for you to do the same assignment in Paint. So stay tuned. So I'm going to show you for our activity using color schemes, I'm going to show you an option that you can use on your computer, especially if you're not in class or away from the classroom for whatever reason. I want you to type in your search bar and type in Paint if it doesn't show up, and go here. And then the first step you want to do is I'd like it to be in a little bit different format, so I want you to rotate it left 90 degrees so it's more of a vertical format. Then you're going to go to your pencil tool, select a size. I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to make it even bigger. I think it'll be easier. Okay, we're going to use our initials, same as the previous assignment, and we're going to just go from edge to edge. I'm going to maybe put my S in here. Make sure that you go to the edges and you close these edges off. If you don't do that, really make a point of making them go to the edge, or it'll be a problem for you in a minute. Make sure they all go to the edge. And so then I'm going to put my K, edge, to edge, and then I'm going to fill in. See how I didn't quite get it right there, so I'm going to try to make sure that it gets closed off. Attach some of these. It doesn't really matter if it looks like a K or an S anymore. That's not what we need to do. I'm just going to cross over. So what I'm making is some shapes. You're going to have to do this 4 times, and I want the exact same design. So what you want to do first, before you put any color or anything in, is I would like you to file this away. So we're going to save as, and you can, a JPEG is fine, that's fine. And in your art folder somewhere, or in a download, wherever you can find it, and we're going to save our SK, and I already have one, so I'm going to call this SK1. And save it in here. And then I know if I want to check it, I can go here. I think I saved it in my downloads. And it's right here, SK1. So I know I have it, and I can use it here in just a minute. So then you're going to have to reference back to your color wheel and the color schemes that you chose. I think I'm going to use a monochromatic red. And so I can maybe change my tool to a bucket, and I'm just going to fill these big whops of color here. And if you don't like the brush or whatever we're doing, just change it. Bucket. Okay, then I'm going to, I need to make it lighter or darker, so I'm going to go to my edit colors, And then I have this really cool slider here. It kind of looks like when we did our value scale. It looks really very much the same. So I can pick that color and say okay, and then I can put that color in multiple places throughout my design. You see how that did the whole thing? So you may want to be careful and go back and fill in or complete some of your lines. And then I'm going to go back to my colors. I'm still on the slider. I can go here and I can pop in those colors like that and fill that in. So then what you're going to do, once you get this all done, you're going to go to File and you're going to Save As, and it'll be here. So now I have this, and I'm going to call this Monochromatic, and it will save in that folder that I put it in. You will do this 4 times with 4 different color schemes. When you get done, you can send it to me like this. Let's do a Word document. And we'll just do a blank one. It'll be fine. Okay, let's go to, I don't need that one. Go back. I already have one open. Go. And then let's go to a blank document. And then you can insert your picture from this device and go back to my download. And when these are complete, this is monochromatic, and I'm going to insert that in here. I'm going to scale it down because I would like you to put all 4 on one page. And that would be great. And you can go to here and maybe label this for me. So I know that you know what you're talking about. And so I should have 4. They should be labeled. Then when you get done, you will file, you will save. Let's just put it in here and call this color scheme activity. You want to save that. And then what I want you to do is go to your email, and I want you to attach that file for me.